Boo! She scared me. Oh, hello there.
A little bit of a jump scare. Hope nobody, had their heart stop beating for a second.
Dear friends, thank you for joining us. This is 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy. Amy Nasir. Which person is that? I think that's the one which is over there. Hello, you good people. Thank you for joining us. Today is Sunday, September 24th, the last Sunday in September, which means we're already thinking about October. We're already thinking about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. What am I saying? I'm already thinking about Thanksgiving. No, it's because I had lunch at the Eagle Tavern in Greenfield Village today. I am already jumping ahead. No, we're thinking about Halloween. And I want to give you, I don't want to give you anything. Amy wants to give you. Amy is the queen of Halloween.
I have some recommendations for Halloween.
Amy has recommendations for you. So real quick, because we're going to share our thoughts on the spooky season, I should probably say what was the impetus for this. There were a few reasons why the topic came up, but one of them was, what the heck, these crazy people on the socials, on the Facebook, or like Amy's posting about Halloween, and we've got a whole Halloween group going on. You can share decorating ideas and humorous memes and all the fun stuff. And what happened to you when somebody said something about Halloween and you were like, oh yeah, it's all good?
Well, now, I should say this. This was on our friend John Paquette's wall.
Okay.
The corrector, our friend the corrector. Yes. Not on my Halloween spookiness and goodie exchange Facebook page, which, by the way, if anybody has not checked that out, please check it out. So anyway, there was just there were some people there who didn't quite get Halloween. It was brought up about the neighborhood was decorated for Halloween. There were skeletons and creepy spider webs and all sorts of interesting things, and some people just said, I just don't get it.
Killjoys.
And
I think that's the word for it.
Yeah. I mean,
they were more than just I don't get it. They were like downers.
Well, it's just that, some people who've never experienced the playfulness and joyfulness and creativity and spontaneity of Halloween, they're just, a little bit sadder in life. That's all. A little bit
sadder. You're being very charitable. Folks, I'm not the Halloween person of this couple. Amy is but I get it. I understand why people get jazzed about it.
Yeah.
I understand at least some of the reasons why people love this holiday. So it's time to fight back against those sad sacks, those Debbie Downers, those folks who are like, I don't know, man.
I'm all for stories of redemption. Yeah. So, it's okay. It's all right.
We will certainly give them that opportunity to redeem themselves, because Lord knows they need it. And we all got to redeem ourselves before we are lowered into the ground.
Yes. Before the coldness consumes us as we're buried under the ground.
Sorry, just checking out our feed here. I don't know. I'm getting these warnings that like your bandwidth, your quality, I don't know. Folks,
I don't know.
Let us know in the chat. Is everything looking okay out there? We were on the ARC UK earlier this week, and I'm like, why am I fuzzy? I don't know. I might have to reboot my router. I'm starting to jump ahead. I'm noticing I'm saying the next word before the right word. I'm getting verbal dyslexia or something. You're participating in divination for the holiday of Halloween.
I'm
seeing the future and we're living in the future. Absolutely.
Everything is fine, by the way.
Are folks saying things are fine?
Yes, everything's good.
Good. Then I'm going to jump ahead. I want to get the preliminaries out of the way. There's a couple of good ones, and we will relate to them as we go back and forth. Real quick, today is Sunday, September 24th, 2023, the 267th day. 267 of this, your best year yet. You've got 98 days left to make it so. I'm going to be working real hard on those 98 days. I'm going to be working on my Post-it notes of the week as a way to keep myself focused. I got a lot to do in 98 days. You probably do too. Christmas is in just 92 days, so get shopping. Thanksgiving. See, I was already thinking Thanksgiving in 60 days. I'm already ready for turkey, pumpkin pie, Although, I don't know. I got to downsize a little bit. Literally, so maybe not as much pumpkin pie this year. And Halloween in just 37 days. That's practically a month.
Yes.
It's time. It's time to think, how am I going to dress up? How am I going to decorate? What's my favorite Halloween candy that I'm going to give to the kids, not for myself? No. And on this date, the first episode of 60 Minutes, 1968. That's weird. I must have not seen 60 Minutes until I was, a teenager, because it's weird for me to think that 60 Minutes came on the air when I was 5 years old. But it's very cool. It's the longest running primetime show in American history. You thought it was The Simpsons, but no, 60 Minutes. Very cool, and a lot of innovations, all sorts of awards that they won. I still remember Point Counterpoint. I missed that. That was really cool. Two intelligent people talking two sides of an issue.
Yes.
Although that segment, maybe it went away because it was parodied so much.
It was.
I can still hear Dan Aykroyd saying to Jane Curtin, "Jane, you ignorant slut." So maybe they had a little too much fun with that. But yeah, on this date in 1968, holy wow, more than 50 years. So it's too cool. Too cool. Also on this date in 1948, we have been talking lately about World War II because of Oppenheimer, Barbieheimer, and the decision to drop nuclear weapons, the only time they've ever been used in war, on Japan. We've talked with Dr. Robert Garmong, whose fundraiser is still up at tinyurl.com/Garmong. Mm-hmm. And we talked to Dr. Garmong about the animosity that still exists, no, not militarily, but culturally, between Chinese people and Japanese people. Very interesting to think, World War II has left that effect. But Soichiro Honda, on this date in Japan, 2 years after World War II ended, incorporated the Honda Motor Company. Now, way back toward the end of the war, what was he doing? He found a factory that had produced two-stroke engines. Not the kind of engines that we use in automobiles now. These little engines, more like lawnmower engines. Mm-hmm. And he got them modified to burn kerosene because you couldn't get gasoline at the end of the war. And he put them on bicycles. And he made these little motorbikes. And they were smokies. They had nicknames for them because they were smoky. They burned kerosene in a two-stroke engine.
Kerosene.
And that's how he got his start. And he eventually developed his own motor, sold motorcycles. And it was in the 1973 when he produced the Honda Civic automobile. And that was what got him into the United States. And I mention that because it's kind of a cool story. Post-war, again, we're not talking about World War II here, but there is a connection. And the Honda Accord, which came out a few years after the Civic, his sort of luxury line, was always my dream car. And eventually, finally, I bought myself a new Accord. If anybody's wondering, why does Robert drive a Honda Accord? Why doesn't he get one of those new SUVs? Why doesn't he get a Tesla? I love my Honda Accord. Yes, Soichiro Honda was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame in 1989, 2 years before he died at the age of 84. Mm-hmm. Well, the Automotive Hall of Fame is located where? In Dearborn, Michigan, on the campus of the Henry Ford. So, if you ever go to the Automotive Hall of Fame, you can see the history of Soichiro Honda.
Nice.
And then you can go next door and go to the museum.
Yeah, well.
And go to the village, like we did today.
The Automotive Hall of Fame, by the way, is not actually
it's not part of the Henry Ford.
Part of the Henry Ford.
No, it's just out in the parking lot.
Very small thing. And I don't know if it's something that you want to look up, I would say call there before you go because sometimes it's not open. But I should say, Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation is open every day.
All the time.
All the time except for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. Which is more than the village is open, because they do close after Christmas time for a while during the winter.
Right.
Yes. So, it is also, it is a National Horchata Day. So, if they've got horchata where you are at.
Explain what that is again. It's something about rice and milk and spices.
Yes. You take rice and you boil rice in water, add milk, add spices, add cinnamon. Well, you think, well, that's going to be like watery, what, oatmeal or something. No, what you do then is you strain it and you serve it as horchata. Now, I have never had a horchata. I meant to prepare one for tonight. Didn't have time to make that happen. But we will be trying that later, and we'll let you know what we think. It is National Horchata Day.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, made up of white rice, soaked in water, flavored with cinnamon, almonds, tiger nuts, or a little sugar. All the ingredients are usually ground up in a blender until it has a semi-liquid consistency. Eventually, the mixture is sieved, filtered, to remove the solid granule and leave a nice and smooth milky consistency.
Very nice. Well, now Linda Cordero is in the chat on Facebook, and she says that horchata is amazing.
It's like liquid rice pudding. Well, sounds about right.
Now, I do like rice pudding, so
Yes,
that's good. By the way, shout out to Linda Cordero of Cordero.com.
Cordero.com.
Quaint Cordero Fine Art.
The most beautiful things in the world, second only to my darling wife.
Well, thank you. In 2 locations, by the way, in Napa,
That's true.
Valley, California, and
Jackson, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
A.k.a. Jackson Hole.
Yes.
Yes, very cool. Yes, the website is like going to an art gallery. Check them out. The neat thing, of course, is you can take the art home. You can buy it. What could be better than that? The only reason I know about horchata is because there is a punk rock band in southeast Michigan, Norcos y Horchata, which isn't a direct translation, but the closest translation would be narcotics and horchata.
So, you blend those two together.
Or Norcos can also be translated as analgesics, so it could be
like
be legit
aspirin
drugs.
and ibuprofen and horchata. But, but no, that's Norcos and horchata. I don't know Spanish. Okay. But you don't have to pronounce it in a Spanish accent. I
learned a little Spanish, but they didn't teach us about narcotics at the time.
No.
I had to learn that on my own.
It's a fun punk band from around here. So
it's a fun band. If you go to the show notes in the YouTube description or on Facebook as well, when you see my entry for National Horchata Day, the link will actually take you to the Facebook page for Norcos y Horchata because that's more fun.
Alex in the chat, he says, or equal to reality. It's also National Cherries Jubilee Day.
Cherries Jubilee? How did I miss that?
That sounds delicious.
It sounds like something that actually you would have pointed that one out. So yes, thank you for the heads up there. Very much appreciated. It's also F. Scott Fitzgerald's birthday, so if you're a fan, if you enjoyed The Great Gatsby, downer. No, it was a great story. I haven't read it since high school or college, but it is F. Scott Fitzgerald's birthday. Okay, more important than that, it's Blind Lemon Jefferson's birth date, born in 1893, and he only lived to be 36, so obviously passed away a long time ago. But yeah, one of the original blues players, great blues player, responsible for, well, nowadays it's usually covered as One Kind Favor, but the name of the song was, apropos of our topic today, See That My Grave Is Kept Clean. There's a blues song for it. I got one kind favor. Whatever happens to me, see that my grave
and who
is
sings
kept
that again?
Clean. That is Blind Lemon Jefferson.
Blind Lemon Jefferson. I love it.
I love
the Delta blues. I don't know, where was he hailing from?
Good question. Let me double check my notes here because I know
I can look it up.
Well, he was an East Texas musician, but I don't know if he was born in Texas. It says here he was born in Chicago, Illinois, but he toured in Texas, and he was a blind man.
No. He died in Chicago, Illinois.
Died in Chicago. Okay.
He was born in Texas.
Born in Texas. Good.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah, and he was a successful recording artist. So despite being blind, he got around.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
He only lived to the age of 36.
Right.
Which means he did not make a deal with the devil because you would have had to die when you're 27 or 29 or something.
Well, I don't know if the 27 Club is related to the deal with the devil thing. I think those are two different things, but could be some overlap.
By the way, tiger nuts are not made from tigers. For those in the
Much
chat
less tiger nuts.
It's obtained from a plant called yellow nutsedge or sedge. Marble-sized tubers are chewy and taste a little like almond and pecan. So I guess if you don't have tiger nut, then you can use almond or pecan.
Yeah, the question came up. One of us asked the other one of us, well, could we play some of the music we're going to talk about because, copyright issues and stuff? And I said, no, probably not. But maybe, because, some of this stuff, like,
Blind Lemon Jefferson.
I was looking for the song. Blind Lemon Jefferson's My Grave is Kept Clean. See that my grave is kept clean. Why am I losing that? But also Matchbox Blues, which the Carl Perkins fans or the Beatles fans will just know as Matchbox.
Oh, okay.
But that was a cover of the original Blind Lemon Jefferson's Matchbox Blues.
Nice.
Yeah, Ringo Starr sang that one when the Beatles put that out. That was one of his early opportunities to be the lead singer in the Beatles. Very cool. But yeah, you were asking about that, and I suspect that we won't get in any trouble for that, but I wouldn't know for sure about some of the newer stuff, like some of those Halloween tunes you had in mind. Here,
I think that they're going to be too old to be for anybody to go after us if we play a clip.
Well, it's not strictly a matter of age because copyrights can be renewed.
Yeah, well,
up to a point.
Let me just explain a little bit before you start playing. So back in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, there were a lot of Halloween songs. And, from the big bands, of course, but even before that, with blues greats like Bessie Smith, really, sometimes, you could say that they're obscure. Back then, later on, they were pretty much banned. But, you've got all kinds of interesting music coming out of the 20s and the 30s that are very playful, very spooky, and it's you can see the development both in the UK and in America, especially the United States. You've got a lot of Halloween coming out, celebrating, parties and becoming more commercialized. Thank you, trade and capitalism and all of that. So, yeah, this is the context here. And by the way, these are my favorite Halloween songs. So it's not necessarily like the theme song to Ghostbusters that I'm all about. It's really, really, really spooky things like Fats Waller's Dry Bones. Oh, I love it.
Now, were you looking to jump forward to talking about the Halloween tunes?
Not just yet. I just want to give a little bit of, in case we play some of this stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. So, well, we'll skip over that, but we don't have to play those right now. But there are links to the Blind Lemon Jefferson music in the description. You can search it out. You'll find it on YouTube if you do it that way too. Real quick, because we covered all that, what did we listen to this week? What did we do this week? There was on the Ayn Rand Center UK, there are two main shows they do every day, the Daily Objective and the reality show. And on Monday and on Tuesday, both shows were devoted, at least in part, to Russell Brand. So yeah, that first reality show, you were on that one, right?
Yeah, I was. And we
the
talked
reality
about
show, Russell Brand and Sexual Allegations.
Yeah.
And also some of Lauren Boebert's misbehavior.
Yeah.
What do you think of that whole Russell Brand thing?
Oh, well, first of all, I don't like his work. I never have. But I know a lot of people who do, and he can be funny, I suppose.
Well, Get Him to the Greek was funny, as films go.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it was funny.
So, but anyway, regardless of that, whether you're a rock star, comedian, whether you're an author, whether you're a famous person in general, an actor, an actress, however, you need to really rein in your bad behavior. Russell Brand explicitly made sure that he did not rein in his bad behavior. He explicitly went out and acted on it. And he, bragged to everybody, and his brother and his mother, that he was very promiscuous, and this is his intention to be very promiscuous. But while he was doing this, he would do things that some people who want to be promiscuous but don't necessarily want to be entirely honest about it do, at least according to the allegations. One of the allegations was that, he made one lady feel like she was very special, that he was very much in love with her, that she was the one, that, and he brought out the best in her. He really went the extra mile to prove that he was really, really into her. Now, of course, us more intellectual ladies will know that that is something that a lot of young men do. But when you're in your 30s, you need to stop. Or you should just not do that in the first place. Basically, some women do this too, tricking your date into making them believe that you really like them when you just want to sleep with them and then tell them goodbye the next morning, and so on. And so anyway, Russell Brand did a lot of this. And of course he's going to get into trouble. I should say he did a lot of this according to some allegations. So, and that brought about some really bad behavior, especially with the drinking and the drug taking and all of that. So now he has a number of women who are saying that he treated them very badly, including sexual assault and all of that. So what do I think of this? If you want to be famous, if you want to have your own podcast with hundreds of subscribers, we need to remedy that. We need to get more. If you want to be out in the world and you want to have your voice regularly heard and want to know, want people to know about you and want to be famous, you really need to have your act together morally. That's all I can say. Otherwise, it's gonna haunt you. It's gonna come back and bite you. You don't want that.
Well, I like the way you summed that up. Absolutely right. I think even blind Lemon Jefferson could see.
Yes.
That you go acting a fool, you're going to reap what you sow.
Yes. He can certainly see that, blind Lemon Jefferson.
There you go. And that was the first of the 4 shows we did. Real quick, I did a show with James Valliant. Watch that show on Hope, Regret, Courage, and Perfection. Mm-hmm. Hope, Regret, Courage, and Perfection. What on earth? It sounds like a random assemblage, but no, a great show if I do say so myself. Even if you don't, James is certainly worth watching. There was another reality show, Dictators of the World Unite. Once again, we look at the fact that Iran has not only been invited to the UN, the United Nations, but to the Peace Council. Bizarre. So we had a discussion about that, and fentanyl, fun, and climate change. Of course, climate change has been coming up a lot lately. Came up today on the HBL Harry Binswanger's list on the Meeting of the Minds. That one is going to take some work because some folks have a very simplistic idea of the topic, and I don't know. I think I need to make notes going through Alex Epstein's book and then share some of that stuff out. And then the final show that we did this week was the Thursday show, Life on Earth with Robert and Amy Nasir, the top 5 ways you're not selfish enough. Mm. I love that title.
Yeah, it was a good topic.
We delivered on it.
Oh, we did. It was very good. I enjoyed it.
Yes. So that was fun. Yes. So that is what happened this week. Now, again, Halloween is right around the corner.
It is.
And Amy, I know you have a lot more to say about Halloween than I do. Mm-hmm. But we have talked about Halloween before, and I want to make sure we're ready for it. I want to make sure you out there are ready for it. I mean, ready to have maximum fun.
Yes.
But Halloween it's fun for me. I like the decorations, and I like the spirit, and I love Halloween night when we get kids coming to the front door. The last few years there haven't been as many. Hopefully this year will be better. But Amy, you love Halloween.
I love Halloween.
What do you love about Halloween?
Well, Thank you for with your input. And by the way, Robert, you really love pumpkin seeds.
I love pumpkin seeds. It's funny, if you ask Amy, what does Robert like about Halloween? And she'll be like, well, there's pumpkin seeds. Yeah, there's that.
So, by the way, the people across the pond in the UK especially, if you haven't tried pumpkin pie, like Alex had mentioned in the chat here, you need to try it. And you need to try it with some real, like freshly whipped cream with a tiny bit of sugar in it. It's really excellent. So
yeah, the correct amount of whipped cream on a slice of pumpkin pie, the correct amount is more.
Yes. You just keep adding more as you go.
There's a point at which it looks like it's too much, and that means you're getting close.
Right. So why Halloween, folks? Why Halloween? Let's put this into words, because a lot of people like Halloween. They just don't have the words to convey why.
So when folks say to you, I don't know, it seems like kind of a crazy holiday. I'm not sure it's a good holiday, a virtuous holiday.
Yeah.
Valid holiday.
It's and some people say, goodness, it affects my senses because I'm quite offended by all of the skeletons and monsters
isn't all
and witches
all of the death and horror kind of nihilistic
and mummies and
what's up with that?
Yeah, isn't that just kind of anti-life, says the objectivist. So basically, let's put this into context here. Every one of us, we're not immortal. We're all going to be dying at some point. Make that, one more decade, a few more decades, several more decades. We're goners, all of us. So, and that's a really heavy topic. It's super heavy. So Halloween is definitely a time to kind of make light of that perspective and to it's a little bit of a catharsis with getting together with other people, your friends and your family, going to haunted houses and getting spooked, Halloween parties and all of this. It's a good time to come together and just make light of the whole topic. And that's not all. You can, add your own creativity to your costuming, to how you're decorating your home and your yard, to enticing trick-or-treaters to come up, or your neighbors to, give you a little compliment. It's a really wonderful thing. Basically, what it comes down to it's a chance, if appropriate, if you're in the right company, it's a chance to be playful with friends. Whether that's playing a prank on them, jumping out of the corner at them, spooking them a bit, watching a scary movie with them. It's basically a time to play pretend and to be goofy with concepts that are normally very negative, like death, like dying, like people who want to hurt you, like axe murderers or zombies or other monsters who are coming after you. So it's definitely a time to be playful and to kind of pretend with those concepts, where in any other time of the year, you don't take any of that very lightly, because there are real monsters out there in the world. They're called human beings. And they're called criminals, they're called murderers, and etc. So Halloween is definitely a time to kind of put all of that aside, come together with your friends and family, and spook each other out, surprise each other, delight each other, play pretend, dress each other up, and be around other people who want to spook you. It's a great, fun time. And so I wanted to basically put together all of my recommendations for movies and TV shows and reading and things like that. If any of you have any recommendations for fun Halloween content, art, meaning movies and TV shows generally, and music, by the way, let me know. Please put that in the chat. So let's start with movies.
Movies.
Now, these are all movies that both Robert and I really love. We watch them over and over again. They're really, really fun. They're very, very silly. And so I'll start with, there's a movie, basically, I think it was produced in the late 90s, I think, called The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Yes. And it's basically an homage to the 1950s sort of B-movies.
Yeah, if you come across it, you will assume that it was made in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah. But it wasn't. It was made just in the last 20, 30 years. It's a great movie. It's very, very fun. It's even better if you watch it with friends. It's very, very silly. But it's highly recommended. The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. Next is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie.
Now that one's going to give you some controversy.
There's controversy here because now this is with Luke Perry and Christy Swanson, and it also has a really excellent cameo with Paul Rubin. Absolutely amazing. It's not so much he is a character, and it's not quite a cameo. He plays one of the vampires. Very, very fun movie. A lot of people, including Joss Whedon, would consider it to be kind of embarrassing. Am I getting that name right?
Joss Whedon? Yeah.
Yeah, the director. He actually directed that before he did the TV show. And now the TV show, we watched that. It's all right, but it doesn't have the same playful spirit that we like from a Halloween movie. So yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original movie with Luke Perry.
Yeah, that's a tough one in the objectivist community because there are a lot of people who think the television series was better. And yeah, because Whedon himself thinks that it was better. He felt that the movie, he got pressure from the producers to make changes to the movie that he didn't want to make. And he wanted it to be more like the TV series ended up eventually. But yes. I thought it worked perfectly. For the genre, for an hour and a half, 2 hour film.
It has Rutger Hauer in it.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer is great as the
Lothos the vampire.
Yeah.
It's great fun. It's
exactly right. To me, it was exactly the right spirit for a film called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Part of the problem is that expression is so common in the language now because people have seen the show, they've seen the movie. You forget just how absurd that was. The film was exactly what should have been done.
And then the film has Donald Sutherland. For God's sakes. It's great. I mean, for all that it lacks and its, silly little plot or however you want to put that, the star power in it's really amazing.
Yes, I liked it.
Loved
I liked it a lot.
Young Frankenstein is next. If you
don't
know this movie, I don't know where you've been living. Obviously, that is the director's name is
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks, yes.
The great Mel Brooks.
Yes.
Whose other greatest film, Blazing Saddles, is not a Halloween film, but if you like cowboys and Indians, maybe dress up, kind of Halloween. But no, Young Frankenstein is brilliant.
So good.
It is almost flawless.
It's
one of those films where you're like, no, it's good from start to finish.
Yes, yeah. Gene Wilder is in it. Madeline Kahn playing one of the best roles ever. Oh my gosh. I'm forgetting her name now. She played Frau Blucher.
I thought you were going to say Terry Garr. No, Cloris Leachman.
Cloris Leachman. Yes, Thank you. So good. Army of Darkness is the next one. This is a...
real quick. Yeah. Army of Darkness is important, but I just saw in the chat, because Apollo Zeus had asked if Brooks is still alive. Christopher Smith says, yeah. I pointed out recently, if you haven't yet heard it, Mel Brooks has finally produced his own autobiography, and if you have the Audible service and want to listen to the audio version, he reads the book. And it's great hearing him do the reading because it's conversational in tone. So, yeah, if you're a Mel Brooks fan, the autobiography, well worth reading or listening to. So
absolutely.
I'm sorry, you were getting into Army of Darkness,
a
Dino De Laurentiis production.
Yes. Well, it's Sam Raimi.
It's a Sam Raimi film.
Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are kind of close to our hearts a little bit because...
Well, they were best buds. They were both from Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, Southeast Michigan. You know, yo. Shout out.
Now, I never cared for the Evil Dead films.
Me neither.
They were horror films with a little humor.
Right.
Army of Darkness is a comedy with a little horror.
Right.
It flips that over. It gets the mix right.
Yes, it does. It's a great film, Army of Darkness. There are so many things. And by the way, all these things that we're talking about right now, Robert and I have memorized so many movie lines from these movies. So, you know, if we say something completely that doesn't sound rational whatsoever, you have to say to yourself, Robert and Amy are
they must be quoting some movie line.
Yeah, they're quoting a movie line. It's out of the blue. Army of Darkness. So yeah, again, Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi. Okay, the next one goes with this. This is a new one that we just saw this week.
What did we just see this week?
Okay, it's a book. Not a book.
Probably one of those ones you liked more than I did.
Yeah, I liked it better. But this is originally a book written, I don't know from who, I forget. But anyway, Sam Raimi got a hold of it and he interpreted it into a movie made by Netflix. So it's a Netflix movie and it's called Night Books.
Oh, Night Books. Okay.
Yes. Night Books. It's
a good film.
It's very.
I don't know if I'd put it on our list of eternal favorites. But...
No, it's not. I mean, I'm kind of covering what we really absolutely love first. So yeah, Night Books, fun movie, a little bit too scary for young kids. Now, it does have children in it. It has like a 12-year-old boy and maybe a 14-year-old girl. And it's basically loosely based around the idea of Hansel and Gretel, where the children become prisoners of a witch. Yeah, but it's actually a very interesting film, and it has a lot of excellent morals of the story, you could say. So yeah, it was very good. I recommend it if you like a little extra spookiness, a little extra horror, but it's not entirely that at all. So yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is another somewhat new one. This didn't quite like. This was very pleasant to watch, I'll just say. It was a ghost story called We Have a Ghost.
We Have a Ghost. Have I seen that?
Yes, you have, and now you probably don't remember it because it wasn't... It was basically about a ghost that this family moves in. This African-American family moves into this Victorian mansion. For some reason, it's on the market, and they have a great deal on it. Excellent deal on it. They didn't pay that much for it. They're not entirely sure why. But apparently it has a ghost. And I won't say anything more about it because it's a very clever story and I enjoyed it. And again, it's one of these stories that I think for that particular movie, younger kids can see it. It wasn't terribly frightening and it was not as frightening as Night Books by any means. But We Have a Ghost. It's a nice little story. I'll just say that. Next one is in theaters. We saw recently called A Haunting in Venice.
A Haunting in Venice.
And now this is a Hercule Poirot. Am I saying this right? I know French, but I don't know that name.
Yeah, Hercule Poirot.
Yes.
Agatha Christie, one of her... Probably her biggest detective hero protagonist, other than Miss Marple. But
Miss Marple, yeah, right.
But really, Hercule Poirot was the tops.
So it's basically loosely based on her short story, perhaps. It's called The Halloween Party, I believe.
The Halloween Party.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenneth Branagh made a feature-length film out of that story, and. Yeah. It's interesting to me because this is now his third in his series playing the role of Hercule Poirot, and I think this is the best one of the three.
Yes, it is.
The first two, Death on the Nile, Orient Express, I think they were okay, but this one I think he's come into his own. He's really making the role work now. Before it seemed kind of absurd. It wasn't just the absurd mustache that's made him seem ridiculous. He lived up to it in terms of being absurd. And I know the character has peculiarities, but Branagh was doing it too much. And this one worked. It was
good.
It was well done.
And I recommend watching it in the theaters if you can, because there's some beautiful aerial shots of Venice in the film. It's beautiful.
And like a lot of Agatha Christie, at the end you might think, I'm not sure that all came together. And then after you think about it, you're like, oh wait, yeah, that did make sense. So it's complicated enough story. It's not complicated, but it's a compelling enough story. It's interesting enough story that it sticks with you. And,
it does.
And you think about it afterward, and in some ways you enjoy it more letting it stew for a while. Might do well with a second viewing, maybe once it comes to cable, to streaming.
Yes. So good. Highly recommend seeing it in the theaters right now. It's there.
Very strange mix to think those characters could be made to work. You see a lot of films with kind of international cast, and you think, well, there's nothing unusual about having a Chinese actress and an American actress and a British actor, but to put Michelle Yeoh in a film with Tina Fey, that seems like a clash right there. But no, it worked. It was very well done.
Yeah, it worked. It was quite good, and it was one of those films that you will remember. It was visually stunning. It was, and on top of that, like you were alluding to, you have questions afterwards, and then that makes it stick into your mind a lot more. So good stuff. Next one is a comedy called What We Do in the Shadows. Now, this is the movie I'm talking about. There is a TV show, and I'll mention that right now, too.
Have I seen the movie?
You've seen the movie.
Oh.
It's very goofy, and it's British, I believe, yeah. And, yeah, it's about vampires and what they do.
Doesn't it take place in New York?
The original movie takes place somewhere.
Okay, I don't mean to keep asking questions. Trying to remember seeing that film.
But the TV does take place in Staten Island.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Let me know if you know. What We Do in the Shadows. The movie is a New Zealand mockumentary horror comedy film. With Taika Waititi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one gentleman, and Jermaine Clement. So yeah, New Zealand, not British. Sorry.
It's over the top, but if that's the kind of thing you like, then you'll like it.
Yeah,
not
I
really
liked
my
it.
style, but
I liked it. Okay.
I know you liked it. That's cool.
Now I kind of like the movie probably a little bit better than the TV show. I should say this: the TV show I've been watching, and it has its ups and downs. It's uneven, but it's fun. Okay. And I really love it. And there's one of these things where you take away lines from it. And so if you find a fan of What We Do in the Shadows TV, you're going to have fun just quoting lines from each other. It's really fun.
Right.
Okay, next one is on my recommended list. And then I'll go through some kind of like, you can watch these two real quick. Next one is Monster House. This is, done like 20 years ago or 15 years ago or something. It's basically a CG, computer animated, kind of kids story.
Yeah,
but
it was kind of a kids movie, but it worked for adults. It was not really kids.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was
dumbed
more
down.
spooky.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it was good.
Yeah, it was. Considering the hurdles that it had to go over, that it's kind of, you've got kids, you've got computer animation that isn't terribly up to par. It really works despite those, and it's nice and spooky. And there you go. We need to watch that again. Runners up for me are the original, I think the 90s or the early 2000s, I forget when. It's the Addams Family. That was quite good. Shaun of the Dead. In line with that, with the zombie movies that are funny is Fido. Fido is good. One that we need to actually watch soon is called Death Becomes Her. And I think that was done, I don't know if that was the 80s or 90s or when that was, but I just remember it was good. Clue is always a fun one. The original Clue. Ghostbusters, of course. Beetlejuice, of course. And so that's my list of possible other shows or movies to watch.
Let me just read from the chat real quick here, because we got a couple of recommendations here. Sam Heyer says Howl a Day, a fantasy holiday. And Petya says, speaking of the holiday, and this, of course, November 1st through 2nd is the Day of the Muertos.
The dead.
Dios de los Muertos.
The dead.
And the Spanish people here are transforming as a day of welcoming and celebrating their dead ancestors. So October 31st, Halloween just continues. In the Orthodox tradition, November 1st is Day of All Saints. We all know All Saints Day. So lots to celebrate with all. And Jim Ashley mentions he'd forgotten that we recommended Lost Skeleton of Cadaver. I think you need to see that film.
Yeah.
Definitely give that a watch. There were even sequels, because you will love it so much you'll want to see more. The sequels are more of the same, but the first one really stands alone. So definitely see that film. And then Jim says, my favorite movies for Halloween are Bride of Frankenstein, which was parodied in Young Frankenstein. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Yes. And starring Colin Clive, Boris Karloff, and Elsa Lanchesters. And The Haunting, the original, starring Julie Harris, Richard Johnson, Claire Bloom, and Russ Tamblyn. That's Biff in the original West Side Story. And he says, my favorite music to get me in the Halloween mood is, well, of course, Dance Macabre by Camille Saint-Saëns. Very good, very good. So yes, thank you for that. And the chat on the YouTube side is very funny. The boys are getting into it big time. And yes. Brooke is 97. Yaron's 97? No, the other Brooks.
That's Mel, not Yaron.
Okay.
All right. So the TV shows, I have a short list.
TV shows. Well, good, because we're not going to have time for everything.
Everyone should know Wednesday.
Wednesday. Definitely worth it. If you like Addams Family,
it's fun.
The first episode, maybe the second episode, you'll be like, I don't know. I don't see Gomez being played that way. And so get through the first episode or two. Stick with it. I think you'll love it.
Right. The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, as opposed to Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, excellent for the first few seasons.
Okay.
I would recommend, don't even bother with the last season, okay? Just don't. It didn't end well. I'll just say that. But Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Of course, I mentioned What We Do in the Shadows, and I'm going to mention something a little bit interesting here. True Blood, which it takes place around New Orleans, in Louisiana there. And it's vampires. It's not funny. It's more of a soap opera than anything. But it's clever in a lot of ways. And you root for heroes. I would say watch the first couple of seasons, then leave it. Because it gets, at least in my opinion anyway, it becomes a little maniacal after a while, and I lost interest in it from then. So, okay. So as we were talking about, first of all, I want to mention, I want to give a shout out to a podcast that I listen to, and those in the UK might know who I'm talking about, maybe. There's a gentleman named Mark Rees.
Mark Rees.
Yep, and he is from Wales, okay? He actually does a podcast, and it's called Ghosts and Folklore of Wales.
Yikes, that sounds weird. Most of us were born of man and woman, but he's from Wales?
Very funny.
Okay.
So it is a really fun podcast. And if you're interested in somebody with a very interesting British accent, I always kind of chuckle because he says English words that are very funny to my American ears. Instead of saying, I heard that, oh, I heard a sound, he would say, I heard a sound. Like, heard. Like, heard?
I hear it now, I heard it before. Sure.
It's just funny. Some of the pronunciations of English words are very interesting, and I really enjoy it. But he talks about ghosts and folklore of Wales. That's what he does. He talks from fairies to ghosts to vampires to all sorts of things that are very interesting and historically good, I should say. So if you like the history of like supernatural things, it's a really, really fun podcast. And he has this really excellent... I actually emailed him recently. He responded right back to me. I was so happy. Mark Reese, I emailed him and I said, what is the theme song that you have on your podcast? Because it's so haunting and so amazingly beautiful. And I listen to everything that you do. So he let me know it was called... it was one of the Norwegian folk song dances by Edvard Grieg. So, and he told me what it was, but then I had to look it up. It was because it's one of 25 Norwegian folk songs. So I had to
Sounds complicated.
And then I found that it was the only ones that I could find were piano based, and the one that he played was like a woodwind ensemble. And I'm like, where is this? Where on earth is this? So we're going to go ahead and play this. This is his theme song for his podcast,
Let's
Ghosts
try this and see
and
if
Folklore
this
of
will work.
Wales.
All right, we got our YouTube page up there. Incidentally, this YouTube page that you see in front of you, this is a playlist which you can find on our YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Robert Nasir, which says A Haunted House, a 5 minutes Halloween playlist. And the one you want is the last song there. Let's see. And this is what he uses as the theme song for his show?
Yes.
It's very short, so YouTube is already showing what they want to play next.
Boo!
Well, okay, that's
I
eerie.
love it. Oh, it's so eerie and spooky, and it's so deliciously perfect. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Yes, I hope that was worth the inevitable copyright strike. I'm sure we'll see shortly.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. So on to music. Maybe one more. Again, I recommend Fats Waller, a song called Dem. That's D-E-M, like them, but Dem, Dry Bones. So good.
Yeah, it's in that playlist.
There's also Skeleton in the Closet by Louis Armstrong with Jimmy Dorsey and his orchestra.
Yeah, actually, the three songs you mentioned that you especially liked, I moved those to the top of the playlist.
Very good.
So people would hear them first if they play that playlist.
Yeah, there's one called Tain't No Sin to Take Off Your Skin and Dance Around in Your Bones. Woo!
Yes.
That's so good. And then lastly, one of my favorites, I can listen to it over and over again. It's called The Haunted House by the New Mayfair Dance Orchestra, which was a British band. And you can hear the kind of funny, the British accents in the song, and they're really hamming it up in the song. It's
very
really
playful.
Really fun.
Yeah, that playlist is mostly from a CD by the name of The Haunted House. It's that collection, various artists, and that title song is very humorous. Yes.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Tammy on Facebook.
Okay.
She recommended I'll send you the link, Robert. But it's called called Eben Schlettler's Witching Hour, 13th Anniversary Edition, which you can find online. But we'll put that in the show notes later. And but she highly recommends that.
Is that a podcast?
It's actually a performances by her friends. She actually has friends there in LA.
Very cool.
At the they perform this show live at the Steve Allen Theater in LA for years, and it always gets her in the mood for Halloween.
Excellent.
So
good. We will share that out too. Jim says, by the way, I saw the late Raul Julia, who played Gomez in the first Addams Family movies on Broadway in 79 or 80. He was in Harold Pinter's Betrayal with Blythe Danner and Roy Scheider. It was a terrible play, but the three actors were excellent. I think it was at the Trafalgar. Yeah, I've got to say that I don't mean to be critical of Luis Guzman, but he's the wrong person to be playing Gomez Addams in the series Wednesday. He's just not the right guy.
He's an actor and he's in the role.
Raul Julia had the right attitude. Luis Guzman just doesn't come across as the devoted, super romantic, charming.
Yeah, he's pretty toned down, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. Gomez should be, kissing the arm of Morticia when she speaks French.
Yes.
For sure.
Among other things, yes, absolutely. So, yeah.
Yeah, so now we have books here.
I mean, obviously, John Astin can't be beat.
Oh,
the original television series Gomez. But Raul Julia is a better actor, so he was very good at it, too.
That's very true.
All right.
So, okay.
So, have you got much more? Because
I know we're running out of time, but we can go a little bit.
We can go as long as you want. But,
so, time's on our side.
Oh. I didn't even realize that you're preparing for that to make noises? Does that one make noise?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, you don't? Okay. We don't have any of the noise makes. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So, okay. And I'll say this again. Every year I say this somewhere on some medium, but a Halloween reader.
A Halloween reader.
By a lady named, she edited it. So her name is Leslie Pratt Bannatyne, Bannatyne. Leslie Pratt Bannatyne, a Halloween reader, poems, stories, and plays from Halloween's past. And this has so many excellent, look at this beat up copy here with all of my little notes and little things in it. So look at that nice curve that's going on that cover. It's great. I've read it so many times.
Yeah, you have the definitive Halloween book there. Just like the Christmas Encyclopedia is your definitive Christmas book.
This is 400 years of Halloween writing, going back to
wow, that book is holding up well.
Going back to Robert Burns's Halloween poem, and Alexander Montgomery, and Sir Walter Scott, all the way through the early 1900s.
Yes,
early
with
1900s.
sections
so
like
good.
The Celtic Imagination.
Yes.
Yes.
And Halloween Oddities.
Halloween Oddities.
There's plays and
everything
stories.
About Halloween was Halloween Oddities.
There's Ghost Lovers and the Dying Season.
Ghost Lovers and the Dying Season.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, and then fun and games and light verse. The storytellers
Is there an author or editor behind this? A Halloween reader?
Well, it's edited by Leslie Pratt Bannatyne.
Good.
Okay. And some of them are just great. There's Ken's Mystery by Julian Hawthorne. Extremely spooky and also kind of sad one called Man Size in Marble by Edith Nesbit. Here's another one. The Child That Went with the Fairies by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Oh, that'll get ya. It's gonna get ya. And it has the best. Oh gosh, this is the most sexy Halloween poem ever. The Ghost by Vicomte de Parnay. It has everything in here. It has the most spookiest and kind of ghastly poem called Hallowe'en, a Romaunt by Arthur Cleveland Cox, and so on. It's got from the ghastly to the ghoulish to the sad to the extremely romantic to the sexy. It's good stuff.
Enric wants to know, is there any H.P. Lovecraft in there?
No.
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 So it's not that spooky.
No, it's not like that. It's more...
It's not that kind of thing.
I like to read real quick.
Well, really, is anything that kind of thing?
So this is an excerpt from the Halloween Reader in the foreword.
Okay.
Here's what she says. This is what Leslie Pratt Bannatyne says. We are all dying, always. The boundary between the vibrant world we live in and the underground world of worms is thin and brittle. It's only a matter of time. What makes the older Halloween literature so enthralling is that it lets us travel back and forth to the land of the dead without consequence. No coin under the tongue is necessary. No smell of sulfur to beat out of our clothes when we return. Come closer to the fire, everyone. It's cold tonight. Everything I'm about to tell you is true. It just might not have happened. Anyway, it's great stuff. It's very spooky and tantalizingly wonderful. So I really wish everybody here a tantalizingly wonderful Halloween. And we're going to talk probably some more about it later in October.
Oh, I'm sure we will revisit as we get closer to October 31st. Absolutely. Folks, thank you for joining us. I don't know where did my chat go on the video here. There it goes. Okay, good. Yes, Jim is giving us quotes from the Addams Family film. Yes. So, folks, thank you for joining us. Again, when it comes to Halloween, Amy is your go-to resource. Feel free to reach out to her on the social networks. And share in that Halloween group. If you can't find the group, Amy will point you to it. I don't have any homework for the week. I have my Post-it note. I got these new Post-it note pads that are enormous. So I pulled one of my original post and wrote it so I could actually read it. It says, and this is kind of spooky in a way, but not really. It says, we are surrounded by miracles, not least of which is ourselves. And this one usually is a reminder of optimism and benevolence. But for me this week, because I'm trying to jumpstart some projects, some self-development, some fitness goals, I'm really taking it as a reminder that I'm a freaking miracle. I need to live up to that. So if this has any resonance with you at all, you are welcome and encouraged, like me, to write it on a Post-it note, put it up somewhere where you can see it. If you have a regular 3-inch by 3-inch Post-it note, you'll have to write it smaller, but I couldn't resist buying these Post-it pads. You can now buy Post-it notes that are legal sized, 8.5 by 11. Maybe they have A4 versions in the UK. This is about as big a Post-it note as I think anybody should have. But either way, that is my Post-it note for the week. Folks, thanks for joining us. Thank you for this Halloween fun, Amy's favorite holiday of the year. Christmas is a close second. It's not that everything is Halloween, but Amy has been doing her Halloween shopping for over a month already now. And we're ready. We're up for it. Time to start decorating your front lawn or your front door, whatever it is you got.
Yes, and spook all your friends, especially the friends who really enjoy spooks. Yes.
Yeah, you might have to test them out by small measures until you know what their spooky tolerance is.
Yes. Go to those haunted houses that are coming up. Go early and often. Go to the corn mazes.
Corn mazes, those are fun.
Yes. I mean, one of my favorite things is to pretend that there are ghosts that are actually real. And they're not, unfortunately. But, actually, happily, they're not.
Yes.
But it's really fun to play pretend. So don't be afraid of your imagination. Don't be afraid of playing pretend. Don't be afraid of being playful with your friends.
When I was younger, getting my first few jobs in restaurants, fast food restaurants, full service restaurant, and part of the training was role playing They would have you role play. You're the customer and I'm the server, and let's have this interaction. I want to see how you do. And I hated it. Hated role playing. I hated play acting. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate it. I think it's the kind of play that we should all engage with. And Halloween is a great time to do that. You can put on a full costume. You can put on tons of makeup. Or you can just get a silly hat. You can put on a sombrero. And have fun with it. And don't worry too much about being culturally insensitive. None of you are mean-spirited. None of you need to worry about that kind of thing. Have fun with it. Absolutely. We'll talk more as we go. Thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here. Watch out for our shows during the upcoming week. We will undoubtedly be doing more things. Hope to see you there. Thanks for joining us. We wish you every success that you so richly deserve. You really do. It's in our hearts. Goes out to you. Make it happen. And as always, we wish you spooky times. No. Oh, and also, we wish you love.